Hello, and welcome back to the Behind the Stream podcast. In this series, I talk to streamers of all sizes about their stream, their offline content, their growth strategies, and much, much more. In this episode, I talk to a streamer that goes by the name Brrrake F1, who is an ex-trackside performance engineer from Red Bull Racing turned content creator. Since changing from Warzone to more niche F1 content, he has seen rapid growth across Twitch and all of his socials, and we dive deep into that. Many thought he was wrong and made a mistake to quit his job in F1 and turn to content. And those people were wrong. He's killing it. I hope you enjoy the episode. If you do, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below. And if you don't, I'd love to hear why in the comments. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Blake, welcome to the podcast. Really glad to have you on. I've been looking forward to this conversation all week. How's it going? How you been doing today?
Man, I'm great. How are you doing, man?
I'm not too bad. I actually went into the office today, so I don't usually go into the office, and wasn't too bad actually. The tube's a bit hot. Tube is very hot.
Yeah, a little bit swampy.
You said just before we just gone live that today was your day off. Like, was it a day off?
No, it wasn't. Come on, nobody takes
was it
days
a day?
off.
Yeah, but
I did do something nice though. I woke up, I walked down to the local shop, got a bacon roll. I then went and sat out in the garden and tried to keep my cats from escaping over the fence. I sat out there and had a coffee, and it was a very nice way just to kind of like not spend too much time on the screen, just think about what I'm doing and just relax and enjoy it. Weather was nice, sun was out, touched a bit of grass, which gamers, content creators, and all those, we struggle with that, grass touching deficiency. So it felt good, man. It felt good. It did feel like. It felt like a day off.
It felt like a day. If it felt like a day off, then I guess that's good. Right. So, been kind of starting these off with just getting you to take us on a journey, like through a story of how you started streaming, your inspirations, your decisions to start streaming, and then how you've kind of progressed in the period of time that you've been streaming for. To kind of where you are today, if that makes sense. And by all means, take as long as you want. Like, tell every detail that you want to tell. There's no limit.
All the details? No. There's some of those details I'm by NDA not to disclose, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have any of those related to streaming. But I think mine's kind of weird because I think like a lot of people, I never intended to be a streamer or content creator. I personally was super interested in the technology of, Twitch and broadcasting software, and I always enjoyed gaming. I think like a lot of people over the COVID era, and it started just the same story as a lot of people. It started during COVID. Everybody's locked in their house, they're bored, and they start consuming a lot more content online, be it social media like TikTok, Instagram. Everybody was consuming a lot of that stuff anyway. But then Twitch came on the page for me. My girlfriend was like, hey, let's watch this guy called Fresh play Fortnite. Fortnite's been out for ages. 2 years ago, and it was my first time watching. And then we started playing some Fortnite, and then I was like, you know what? A couple of my friends like want to hang out, and we'll play some games, and I'll just put it online. So if any of my friends want to watch it when they're not playing, we can do that. And that kind of started a little snowball thing. That led to, well, that was a funny clip in the game. Looking back on that clip, it was terrible. But let me upload that to a separate Instagram account. Maybe just like we're gonna be stuck in the house for it. Let's do that. So I think that's a really relatable story for pretty much everybody that started streaming in the last 2 years. It's like it was an outlet and a social. I met a lot of friends. I met a lot of people that I know very well in real life now through that journey. And then we kind of went back to work, and I think that's a lot of people remember that. So it's like you everybody's locked down. Like my job particularly, like we were on paid leave for a while because the Formula One industry was shut down. There was nothing happening, and they said, right, to save money, and we're just going to close the whole industry down. So it was kind of weird because my job at the time was also insanely demanding. Like I had I was spending a lot of time at work doing stuff as a vehicle dynamics and simulator performance engineer at Red Bull. So that's a demanding job. And then once we go back to work, I found myself, I got the bug. I enjoyed streaming a lot. I enjoyed connecting with new people. I enjoyed the process of learning something new. That something new was, how do I use social media to share stuff that I'm passionate about with people? I like gaming. I'm not a good gamer. I'm not cracked. I'm not, but something was missing. And I'll get back to that one in a minute. Because I found that thing that was missing later. And I feel like a lot of people still haven't found that thing, but I think I found it, and it's been a game changer for me. But so let's see, work happened. So I got to the point where I was taking, I've been streaming for about a year and a bit. I was taking my laptop to work on my lunch breaks. I was editing TikTok clips and everything else. Like it was like that. I'm working probably 8 to 7 every day. My hour-long lunch break, I go get a sandwich. I stopped, I forwent going to the gym and stuff like that, which was a terrible mistake. But it's like something's got to give. What's going to give? When you've got I think you're the exact same way as me. Like when you get a passion project or a hobby, you full send on it to the detriment of potentially something else. Me, definitely to the detriment of something else. But it's like you're not ever satisfied just doing stuff half-assed. Like I see your bicycle back there. I know that. I know what's going on with the
my
bike
back there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But So you start training and doing all this stuff for that thing because you want to be better at it. And you want to learn about it. And you're consuming. You're thinking about it. Talking about it. And that was content for me in streaming. And it got to the point where I was kind of burned out. I'd been doing Formula 1 engineering for 10 years, which people are like, that's fucking stupid. You quit engineering in a Formula 1 team to be a content creator. And I was like, yeah, it is kind of, but like, you only get to do it once, right? I built up a buffer. I had a game plan. The numbers checked out. I had enough time to full send because I felt like, it's like, well, I'm almost making ends meet now, and I'm part-timing it. What can I do if I full send on it, right? Can I scale that? And realistically, I found very quickly that for me and my attributes in the gaming space, it doesn't scale with time. If you double the amount of time you're working on it, you do not, double how much money you're making, right? It's this thing. It's like you double the amount of time you're spending, and you just end up doing more stuff that's improving, your ability to sustain it by 10% by doubling your effort. So it's like, okay, so something else has got to give. So I basically almost stopped gaming. Like I fell out of love with Warzone. I couldn't enjoy playing it. I had no desire to make content for it. And that was the popular thing, like for a lot of people, was playing Warzone. And I bonded with a bunch of people over it, but I was over it, man. And I was like, shit, what do I do? And I think it's the thing that a lot of people I was looking for, and I was looking for it. And I was like, wait, like, like we talked about before we talked about like just talking to people about stuff. It's like, well, what do I know, or what can I talk about or learn about myself that other people be interested in talking about? And I was like, Formula 1's kind of blowing up right now. Like, and I think if you live in the UK, it's probably been, household names, Lewis Hamilton, Jackie Stewart, all the stuff you hear it all the time. Whereas an American, that's just blowing up over there. So the whole ecosystem around this, you've had the Netflix series Drive to Survive. You've got so many small creators on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and everything else talking about their passion, which is Formula 1. And I just happen to have a very unique selling point and expertise on it. And I just started learning how to make content in a whole different way, talking about something that I'm super passionate about. And I happen to have a bit of experience. So that kind of just transformed streaming for me. So after I left Red Bull, I was like, what do I do? I spent 5 months lost, bummed out.
What was it? Do you remember the day you handed your notice in? Like,
yeah.
Like, how did you feel up until that? Like, when you handed it in, how did it feel like the week? I think you were about to allude to in the weeks and the months after that. Like, what did it feel like?
It's weird. In Formula 1, notice periods are very long.
How long is long?
Mine was long. It was more than 6 months. I'll put it that way.
Okay, yeah. Well, my job is a month. Some other people's is 3 months, and that's usually
exactly.
Yeah.
But like, long-term contracts are not uncommon. Multiple years that you're committed to a job. My notice period was, it was a long notice period. So I handed in the notice, and I have the conversation, and I was like, I just want to do something else. I just want to do something else. Like, I'm not that passionate about this anymore. And I want to do something else that I'm passionate about, because life's too short just to be stuck in the machine, And it's like, and once you have that realization, and if you're honest with yourself, you can't turn it off. When you hear that thought, you're like, I'm done. Like, I'm actually done. I had to chat with a lot of people. I spent a lot of time deliberating about it, and I full sent on it. And I spent the first 5 months. I played Warzone for a couple months after I went full time, and I was like, I don't see myself doing this in 2 months. And that's a bad feeling. So I started playing Tarkov, and I had a blast. And then I was like, I'm not that inspired to make gaming content anymore. it's just like I wanted to try and try and try, but I wasn't driven that way, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't every time I talk about my experience in the motorsport industry and Formula One, people seem to and this probably hits on a lot of other stuff we want to talk about later, but like people seem to like, hey, what's that thing? So that's where I'm at now. So I'm focusing entirely on educational, informational Formula One motorsport content, funny stories, mostly very data-driven analytical stuff, which is a huge gap in the market. There's nobody doing data-driven analytical stuff because there are no professionals that have left the industry to do content. There's like one guy that does Aero and maybe one or two others, but the rest of there's lots of high quality content out there, but there's not that many outlets that are producing content with actual expertise. It's like it's journalism on a topic rather than an expert or somebody with a lot of experience in the industry talking about it. So I think that's interesting, and I think my story's interesting for a lot of people that I left America 10 years ago, did full send on a job to get a job in Formula One, quit that job, which a lot of people are like, oh, I'd really love that job. And I'm like, I loved it for 10 years, and now I wanted to do something different. And now they're like, you're going to do what? You're going to be a content creator? And I'm like, well, yeah, why not? I was a dog shit gaming content creator. I have fun. I still play Tarkov on stream as well, like a couple times, because that's my
times,
that's my time off to vibe out and connect with. Because there's always like the thing I notice is if you have one passion and another passion, and if you find people that are in the middle of that diagram that have that overlap, you actually tend to form quite strong bonds with those people, and it's super cool to see that, like the gaming and motorsport community, and there's people that are in the gaming community that are now motorsport enthusiasts, and like it's the whole thing's coming for a full circle finally, and it clicked. So that's kind of like the journey to where we are now. So grinding analytical, data-driven YouTube content, which nobody's doing, having fun making short-form content, streaming gaming, streaming the F1 game, streaming Tarkov, streaming watch-along sports, and that's kind of like, that's where we're at now. And I'm looking for that next thing already, even though none of these machines are fully oiled, and it's like, fuck it, we'll build the next one. Yeah. So I think that's where I'm at right now with it, and I'm exhausted all the time. I'll say this.
It looks exhausting. I see the work that's being output, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, there's a lot going on in the back there.
But like, it's another thing I'm sure we'll talk about later. But it's like I've got to the point now where it's like it makes sense for me to go into the red a little bit and invest in an editor, somebody that's going to, because this is not a hobby anymore.
You're answering all my questions in this first bit. Stop.
But stop, yeah, okay, I'm done. All right, I'll see you later, man. Have a good night.
You're literally answering
I'm gonna go get the cats.
You said like,
let's go back to him though. We'll come back to him.
Yeah.
I've just touched on them all. See, dude, I'm like you, man. I get super excited about this stuff, and I'm like, yeah.
You said like it clicked, like the F1 content. I'm curious to know like a bit more about the transition from gaming to F1 and your process from that change, because I remember I think you sent a tweet out a while ago, kind of almost asking how does one transition to a new game or a new category. Do you do it once a week? So I'm kind of interested to know like what was your process behind that, and then was there might not have been, or there may have something that just was like a piece of content or something happened, you went, oh shit, this is now I'm full sending, like.
That piece of content was basically a 60-second version of that story I just told you.
I've seen that
honestly.
one,
and it literally just blew up on Instagram. So I sat on it, and I was still, I'll get back to the first question, but I was sitting in that, the gaming niche on Instagram, and it's super saturated. And my stuff, I'll be completely honest with you, I don't have any problem saying it. My gaming content was not competitive in that space. The space was saturated, and it just didn't cut it. So I started posting my Formula One short form content on that. And that started to people started to resonate with that. It started hitting that audience. And then I reposted that video, my story, about leaving the US, coming to the UK, quitting that job, people telling me I was stupid for quitting that job. I went from 4,000 Instagram followers to nearly 70,000 in a month.
I checked your Instagram earlier.
I was like,
fuck, how have you got that many followers?
no, but it literally. I'll get, let's come back to that later because I think that I understand the reason why that piece came that way. But that's the power of that. So the transition from gaming, and I asked that question, and I think you even chimed in on that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I remember because I was kind of going through the same thing in my own situation where I was about 2 months ahead of that from playing full-time Warzone every stream to I don't want to play full-time Warzone all the time.
No.
How do I subtly try new things out, like kind of not just just completely changing, but just doing it at a slow progression.
Because you don't want to alienate your audience.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
If you're in a niche, you've built up an audience, which is those people are coming to watch Ben do this thing. It was weird. So I think after I'd stopped playing Warzone and realized that I actually my community was very strong. I think in the beginning to begin with, right? So I had a core bunch of people that I just resonate with, and I love hanging out and talking with them on stream, and I keep in touch with them on the Discord. I started playing Tarkov, and instead of my numbers dropping, they held tight by completely dropping Warzone. I said, I'm never playing Warzone again. And then all of a sudden, one by one, people in the community started buying Tarkov because I was having so much fun playing it. And that Tarkov's a brutal game. It's fucking brutal. It makes me. It's the highest of highs, and the lows are deeper and darker than anything I've ever felt in gaming before. But that's not a bad thing, is it? No. So and then I started just talking about Formula One, and I'd be like, right, we'll talk about. I think I started doing race watch-alongs, which are super easy because it's like side casting stuff, and that was fun. And people are like, oh, you know quite a bit about the sport, and I think my USP, that ex-engineer talks about F1 on Twitch. That was another piece of content that struck. And then there's just all of a sudden, there's all these new people tuning in. And they're like, hey, this guy's not watching F1 or talking about F1. He's playing a game. This looks fun. And like, I've had F1 fans that have come to the stream and they're like, hey, I'm playing Tarkov now. I'm like,
okay, nice.
I love you. So there's something about it. The transition for me felt very organic. And that was it. It just felt super. There was never this thing where it's like I became a fully F1 creator or I was a fully gaming creator because I'm still doing everything. And like my days off now, I stream Tarkov for 4 hours and just hang out. And if my numbers are low, because it's not F1, which is what a lot of the influx of new people to my channels are. Yeah, I don't care. Like I'm happy. And I told people like when I never really did a partner push, but I told people in the Discord that I was close with, I was like, I'm getting super close. I told the Discord, not to people I'm close with, but everybody in the Discord, I was like, I'm getting close. If you've got time, leave a tab up. And then at the end of the day, it wasn't about them just leaving a tab up because all the social media channels about that were firing, driving people to the stream. And I was like, if I'm averaging below 70 when I'm playing Tarkov and I'm averaging 150 when I'm talking about Formula One, I don't care if it takes me another month to get partnered. I don't mind that at all because I want to make sure that I can keep doing this. And if it was close to that where it's like it's never going to happen, it was tanking my average because I was playing Tarkov 6 days a week and streaming F1 once a week. That would have been a different discussion. But if I'm like, I'm going to be true to this because I don't want to alienate all the people that are there. And honestly, I have too much fun playing video games because I'm a dork.
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
Yeah.
Like he's got that itch. It's like I just want to go play. I just want to hang out. So I don't play games off stream anymore.
Nice. Yeah.
I just play games on stream because I enjoy it. Also, Tarkov is so dark and painful that I need people to share that pain with so I can laugh because otherwise I'm gonna cry. Seriously, man, it's bad. I got issues, bro. But yeah, so that was the transition, and it didn't feel that weird, because like I know the anxiety is if you leave one niche and cold turkey to another one, it's gonna hit numbers, and psychologically, mentally, that's tough, man. When you see numbers dropping. I went through that so many times. Like everything was booming, when everybody was doing customs and everything was going good. Yeah. And I'm like, I hate running, custom lobbies and inviting everybody. I just don't enjoy that anymore. Yeah. You guys are having a great time. I'm fucking miserable. So
yeah, I used to hate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop that. But it's like one of those traps. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? We'll get there when we get there. And if it doesn't get there, It wasn't meant to be in the first place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And but finding something that I was super passionate about actually kept me in the game, because I was burned, man. I was super burned. And I was close to being like, you know what? I'll do this for a couple more months and then go back into the industry or something. But then I was just like, why don't I just talk about something that I get super excited to talk about? One of those things being like this conversation right now about content, about journeys, about ideas, about motivation. And the other one being, I like race cars and I like engineering and I like data. So that's the transition was, for me, natural. It wasn't forced.
Yeah. It looked pretty natural as well. It came across pretty natural. It didn't to me from an onlooker, it did seem that it was just a natural slow progression, and it just made sense. It just made sense. It wasn't forced. I'm also curious about like the two brands that you technically have now of Brrrake and Brrrake F1. Was your, when you transitioned, did you always think, no, I'm gonna start new socials and start again, or were you toying with the idea of somehow integrating that into your TikToks and everything that was, the accounts were already built up, or were you like, actually no, I need to start fresh here?
I think it made more sense for me because I never intended to stop making gaming content. I haven't made a piece of gaming content, and I've done like one F122 clip, right? But I haven't made a piece of gaming content in probably 6 months now. But the intention was to do F1 niche specific. So for platforms like TikTok and YouTube, those made sense to like have a niche for those channels. And the Brrrake F1 brand makes sense to keep that for me on the content channels by itself. And then like keep Twitter and Instagram just like me. Like it's everything. And then, but YouTube and TikTok, those get their own. And then the stream makes sense as well to keep as one thing, because the stream is a one-stop for what I'm doing, you know? So I think the stream made sense. But that was definitely, it crossed my mind. It's like, well, do I keep, you know, the 90,000 followers on TikTok and start adding F1 to that? Or do I start over? And I was like, why don't I just start over? Because I can completely do two different things in the long run. And if, you know, depending on how that brand goes, they're at least separate later. So depending on like, you know, partnerships and everything else, I can still actually keep one of these brands if I want to hold that as my thing, so nobody else can touch that kind of thing. Or so I think that made sense, and it wasn't too intimidating. And but like, you know, starting over new socials is a drag. But I feel like the thing with the, you know, super organic reach of stuff like TikTok, you can blow up a TikTok in 2 videos. I can't. I didn't, but you can do it. You know, and if you hit the niche, and I had to relearn how to make content for that, and I'm still like, it's one of those things like what people want and what does well is changing all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, it was interesting seeing you transition to your new TikTok, because I think you posted, I remember you posted the minute video, the story that you alluded to earlier on your main TikTok, driving people to your new TikTok, and I think that gave you a little bit of a boost at the start. I think it definitely helped, because that TikTok went viral, didn't it, on your main account? And then I don't know how many followers you got. My guess, I think, was between like 5,000 and 10,000. Like, because I remember you tweeted saying you were super surprised by
it. Was a huge kick. So it's weird, because like every time I talk about that stuff, and like you know, that story, I mean, it's not a story, it's what happened, but like, you know, making it a compelling discussion and story that people are interested in hearing where that journey goes, they get activated by it. You know, the same thing is with the Instagram post, this very similar piece of content on Instagram, but also using TikTok as a funnel, because at the end of the day, unless you're partnered with brands making money to promote products or services or ideas or whatever else, you're not making money on TikTok. Unless you're one of the big dogs, you know, you're not. But TikTok is a beautiful. My friend Tony said it very well. She says TikTok's her business card.
Okay.
whatever you want.
Nice.
Like, you know, she's like, this is me. This is my CV. This is my resume. True. This is what I'm. And it's like, but also for me, my TikTok is my especially my F1 TikTok is my business card, but it's also my funnel. I've you know, not probably jumping ahead a bit. I'm not been particularly successful about translating a viral TikTok into, let's say, feeding people to YouTube. But I have execute that several times, and I've got a couple pieces that work very well and a couple ideas that work very well to funnel people to my Twitch. And yeah, I went from something silly like I think 8,000 a month ago or 2 months ago to 15,000 right now. Almost entirely from streaming stuff that people want to see in that niche, and then using social media content on TikTok and Instagram to drive people with an effective call to action to be like, this is what's going on. Here's where to go for it. If you want more, go here for this. And delivering on it, I felt like. So
how are you deciding whether to drive to YouTube or to Twitch? Is it like just maybe not as simple as just 50-50, but when you're planning content and you are using these funnel CTAs, what's your thinking now? Like
my thinking now, and I'm in my infancy, so I will revisit this thought and this opinion on this, I'm sure, 10 times in the next year. But in terms of driving traffic to platforms, TikTok to Twitch is very easy. But getting a YouTube to blow up from a TikTok CTA, I have not been particularly successful. So let's say I've got a couple buckets of content. One of them is race analyses, which are bespokely recorded for YouTube. Well, I'll do a live stream segment and talk about it, but I do a very different version of that for YouTube and try to focus on retention and keeping people watching the whole thing. My streams don't translate well, and they're very hard to edit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not time. I'd rather do a stream and then spend 30 minutes recording a 10-minute video, because that 30-minute video is much easier to package than a 2-hour stream. So lost my train of thought. That's fucking beautiful. No, but like in terms of like YouTube or TikTok, yeah. TikTok to Twitch is pretty straightforward. I feel like I've got a good feel on those people that are using Twitch want to use, what they want to see and what they want to hear. And then YouTube, like say for example, one of the bucket comes from a YouTube piece of content. I will usually, deliver on an entire piece of content. I should probably try some cliffhangers every now and then.
Yeah.
But I feel cheap and I feel dirty when I do that, But I think right now, the live chatting, like candid discussions like this that I'm having with you, or with a stream or community of people, those tend to translate quite well to CTAs to be like, because that's what you see is what you get. So if you watch this TikTok and you like that, go to Twitch. That's exactly what it is. And then the YouTube the same. It's like if you like this description and a little bit more structured, probably unfortunately from something I'm working on, making it a little bit more organic and relaxed, like I'm having a discussion with you.
Yeah.
I feel super comfortable, but if I'm talking to my camera,
yeah. I'm
like
stiff.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's my feeling on that, is that the funnel is effective. I've done a reasonable job of using the funnel to go to Twitch. But YouTube content, you keep posting good content that people want to watch and people go back and watch, and YouTube suggests it. People are clicking on your thumbnails. You've got good SEO. You've got good titles,
mm-hmm.
and the whole package works together. YouTube does its own thing. I don't think I need to do too much YouTube.
Your long form is doing really fucking well, actually. I was pleasantly surprised to see it's doing better than your short form on YouTube, and I'm sure you're probably over the moon about it.
I'm lost on short form on YouTube, but it's one of those things. I'm posting my shorts to my main channel, and as far as I can tell, that it's not hurting my long form at all.
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
but my short form on its own is very. I've used community posts on YouTube, and for the most part, a substantial portion of the YouTube F1 community, so this niche, are probably older and don't really get on with the shorts format. They're coming to YouTube to consume long form content. They're going to Instagram Reels. They're going to TikTok to consume, bite-sized pieces, but they're coming to my channel and they want to see a 6 to 12 minute, 15-minute discussion with hard evidence and facts, not a, boil down one of those 2-minute discussions into 1 minute, all the bullet points, like pop, 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 pop.
That's difficult. Yeah.
So that's a thing I'm going to keep pushing my short form onto my main and see if it eventually finds, because I did stop, so there's an element of not being consistent with it. So now I'm literally posting 5 a week.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it turns around, because it's not hurting my long form. The long form is doing well. It's getting suggested. It's good engagement from the homepage. I have a bit of work to do with thumbnail and title. The thumbnails are excellent. The title, but like the thumbnail title video kind of show people, make them want to watch it, and then deliver on those things and keep them there the whole time.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at with that right now.
So we touched on it. Go on,
it's just real quick. It's weird that for me that like the short form is doing well on every other platform, right? It's not going exceptionally well. One of the there's a couple pieces that do great, but it's doing very well. I think it's not like I'm dropping viral videos every week, but I'm happy with the consistency and level of it. And when I make a video that's not good, I talk with my editor. I look back at the script and I try to understand why it's bad, but it's doing, if Reels and TikTok are doing like 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of like how good they are, Shorts are doing like 4. I'm like, what's going on? I don't think the content's bad. I think the audience is different. So
yeah.
I'm leaving a question mark in the air over that one, man. I don't know what's up, but
yeah, me neither.
I'm excited to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when I know.
Yeah, let me know. So just on that, you touched on it about your editor, yeah, and then we touched on it earlier. I'd like to go into, I think a lot of people who are in content and come to that point where they not sure whether to invest in an editor, right? And I, again, want to kind of go into details about when did you think, right, actually, it's now time for me to invest into an editor, and it would be great if you could just share some whatever details you feel comfortable in terms of like what are you actually outsourcing at the moment?
Sure, absolutely,
and why?
Yeah, the idea for me about this is, like I said earlier, we talked on it. It's not a hobby anymore. This is going to make sure I can pay my mortgage and feed myself, because I'm so passionate about not starving. And I've kind of had to cut back, but I'm really passionate about craft beer. But $5 a pint is, £5 a pint to have at home.
Yeah.
I can't really swing that right now, man. Maybe I'll get a special one, once a month. But it's cheap Tesco tinnies for me for now. But I might have to go grab one in a minute, honestly. But
they're not too bad.
No,
they're cheap.
Yeah, there's the craft's blowing up, and that's another passion of mine. And I'll come remind me about craft beer and content later, because it summarizes this whole thing.
Is that coming soon? Is it?
No. It's not a collab. I mean, if Verdant Cloudwater, if you can hear me, let's do something. Get Ben involved as well.
F1
like
beers,
craft beer Fridays with the boys. But like the editor thing, the whole editor, and like at the end of the day, if this is now a business for me, this is not a hobby. I have to make some capital investments somewhere, because I am spending money to get time. Yeah, money costs time, but you can pay other people to free up your time, but it's going to cost you. So 2 things I think are super important in that is have a plan with what you're trying to do. Understand, try to figure out what your audience is, what they want to see, how you can make, what's your USP in that space, right? And I found those. I was like, okay, cool. I can work on this. I'm going to post. It's going to be bad at first. My first couple of videos were just VODs cut down in their discussions. I was like, okay, people are into this. We can work with this. And it's like, right, what's my limiting factor? My limiting factor now is time. So I need to invest in people. So I found a good editor. I went through a couple at first, and I just had to find the right workflow, somebody that could work with me in the same time zone, understands the sport as well, because having an editor that understands the subject matter, it's just, and he's also a gamer and a content creator himself. So it's like, he knows what he's doing. And he's got another guy he works with. So now I've got a team of people that I'm paying to do work for me, and we've got a workflow. It's like there's a schedule. It's like if there's a race, we're going to do a YouTube.
Yeah.
That YouTube comes out here. So that takes like the idea of the logistics of all that.
Yeah.
like planning stuff takes time, right? But once you have a system, you don't have to actively think about that. So I've invested in that already, and I just pay them. I pay for per video, so it's fine. But a good thumbnail guy that understands what you're trying to do, or thumbnail person. Sorry, there's lots of my dude's a dude. So, but you need a person. If you're not, if doing a good thumbnail takes you 3 hours, that's probably like you would probably be better off brainstorming your next piece of content, or writing a piece of evergreen content about something you're or researching or studying or improving. But like, that makes no sense for me to struggle through using GIMP or Inkscape to make a thumbnail, right?
How long was it taking you to do your thumbnails when you were doing them?
2-3 hours.
Yeah. And were you happy?
They were shit.
Yeah.
Bad,
I know exactly how you feel, because I've done exactly the same.
But it's like, so the other thing is, the guy I work with now, he gets it. Like, he's like, what are you trying to, like, and I'll throw him ideas. He's like, mate, that is way too busy. There's too much going on.
Yeah.
Here's some stuff I think works in other spaces. I've looked at your niche. I think this will work. Also, the title. So then I've had this whole thing where it's like, I've completely revised how I'm doing content, and I'll probably change it again, but it's like, that whole thumbnail to title to what you deliver and hook them in with, and then what you feed them through the video has to be coherent and to a purpose. So, but further back to the original question is, it just made sense because I was time limited. I'm doing 12, 14 hours a day trying to edit stuff, stream, generate new ideas, and it's just cost efficient. And if I burn money for 2 months, I don't care. Like, because I built up a buffer to say, this is my budget. I can go X long before I, if I make dick all for X, I'm okay. It's like, okay, well then I'll have an extra padding so that I can invest in stuff. Do I need new equipment? Do I need an editor? Do I need this? So, but yeah, it's been, honestly, man, finding people that I trust and going through a couple different people to find the right people that I gel with and understand me and are professional about it has been one of the most rewarding things, because now I have time to invest back in myself and generate new ideas and improve, because I think exactly what it's like when you feel like you're standing still and you've been trying and trying, but you're out of time. It's one of the most crippling, anxiety-inducing feelings for me. So I was like, yeah, I'll burn some money right now. But the thing is, I've now seen that by doing that, I do have more time. I am able to generate more ideas. I am able to add content. Once I've got one bucket of content, such as streams, clips, that's fine. That's working. Then we added race recaps. That's working. And then now I'm adding a couple pieces of evergreen content, or, topical pieces that are not tied to any one event.
Yeah.
That's working. So it's like, okay, what's the next what's the next pool?
Yeah.
And so it just makes sense now. Like, it was intimidating at first. It's like, damn, that's a lot of money going out of the bank every week to make content. And, TikToks don't make money.
Yep.
TikToks don't make money. Yeah, like, and a good TikTok takes as much time to edit as a 15-minute YouTube video, in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't have to, but it can.
It can do, yeah. When it comes to, you just kind of rattled through loads of kind of things that I want to ask you. I want to ask you about. Like, I want to understand your idea workflow, because I know you use Notion, and
yes.
Notion is like it's just everything that just. I found it a few years ago.
I just want to hug everybody that uses Notion. I'm like, come here, man.
Yeah,
come here.
Same. It's honestly like, I mean, it's not just a note-taking tool. It's just it's a lots of note-taking tools that I find don't give your mind kind of the tool that it deserves to handle the complexity of like all of your thoughts and ideas, etc. And Notion allows you to do that. And I'm just wondering,
absolutely.
Like, I'd love to see yours, because I've actually got a really good YouTube template. If you never need one, I can send you it. I found one.
Okay, let me know.
Harris Heller's editor.
Yeah.
Exceller Sam. Yeah, he shared his Notion YouTube template. It's epic. I'll send you.
Okay.
You'll like it.
I'm into that.
So just wondering, like, when I can imagine your head, because you've gone through such a new and big change into F1 content, and you, like you said before, you find you're still at the beginning of your journey when it comes to the stream and the YouTube videos and the shorts. Like, you must be just having so many ideas just run through your head all the time, and I'm just wondering how you stay on top of that, how you prioritize. Right, I've got 10 ideas here, they're all great, which one am I going with? Because it sounds like to me that you've probably got amazing new ideas every week, and how do you stop that from you making progress with like a couple?
That's an awesome question. I love, dude. We're gonna have to keep this one short, because I could talk to you about workflow and Notion and pick your brain at the same time about this. But the way I do it is I separate into a few different blocks. Like, my Notion is a couple things. It's like every Sunday I'll plan my week, and then every Sunday I'll look at items that I need to have on my radar for 2 weeks time and 3 weeks time. So there's like a this week, tomorrow, and medium short term stuff. Put it out like that. Then that's planning. There's stuff I need to do. I'll even put my personal tasks in there, because I'm at the same time I work from home. So if I need to go feed the cats or get cat food or shit like that, that's going in there. But like, I'll look at the week and be like, what's my content plan? So I work backwards from my content plan and events. So that's one of the things that's actually quite beneficial for me, is a lot of the content I generate is specific to an event which is fixed in time, like a Grand Prix.
Okay.
Which is so good, because I have no discipline at all. So this is constraint, which is good for me. Constraints that are finite and cement are very good for me, and because I struggle to focus. I think I have crippling ADD and I need to get diagnosed or something, man.
I never thought of it like that. That's actually so good, because for me, Les, I'm the one that sets the deadlines, and there's no one putting the pressure on me. But I thought with the races are the pressure for you to deliver the content, and that.
Dude. So if you could, but like for me, that has been a saving grace. It's like this. It's a rhythm. There's a pulse. There's a flow to it, and you can predict those. And once you get that locked down, you can do it. But like in terms of workflow, so plan, daily tasks, content plan, make a little calendar in there, put like, right, I'm releasing these, I'll work from when I want to release them, when I'm going to have the content, plan streams around that. And I'll kind of do a little bit between that and my Google Calendar. Google Calendar is meetings and everything else. And that is like my content plan. Check it in the morning, today, I break my day out into thirds. I'll do these 3 tasks this morning. If I do one of those, I'll pick one of the random tasks that I'm on the back burner, I call it. Yeah. There's some shit task that you should probably really have done a month ago, but you just haven't.
Yeah.
And then content. I've got, I write a lot of Python code for my analysis stuff. So I do a lot of my stuff is data driven, and my background is writing analysis tools as well to break down data and turn it into useful information that humans can consume, right?
Okay.
So I've got content, I've got code ideas and visualization ideas, and how to make stuff more digestible. So in terms of content, it'll be evergreen content ideas, stuff that people will watch yesterday, today, tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I've got scripts for what am I writing today. So today I'm writing a short piece of content about what happened last year at the Hungarian Grand Prix, because this weekend is the Hungarian Grand Prix. So it's a cool little topical thing. I'll do that. And then I'll just have pages for every type of, if an idea is more than a bullet point, if I've thought about it and had more meat to it, that gets turned into a page instead of a bullet point. So go into that page, populate that. And once there's enough ideas in there, I'll be like, right, I'm going to work on this piece of content today. Or, I'll plan it for that week. I was like, right, next week I'm working on race strategy. How does it work? And then I try to turn that into, right, what do I want people to get excited about? How does my hook work? What are the important pieces of information, and work on pacing and making sure there's enough focus on each bit. I'll write the script, or write an outline, write the script, and then go back and think of how I want the video to flow and make notes for the editor. Then I'll write it, I'll teleprompt and record it very rigidly and awkwardly, which I need to improve desperately. And then, at that point, I've done all the work. I've got all the B-roll that I need. I package that up. package that up with a script, send it to the editor, and we generate a good piece of content, I think, and with plenty of room to improve, which is the only thing that drives me. If I knew how to do this yesterday and I was perfect at it, I'd hate it.
Yeah.
But I love that I can, every time I finish a piece, I'm like, I didn't spot that, and I know what it is. So that's kind of how I use my Notion. So it's kind of like half planning, half content. Like if I have a meeting with somebody, so any business related stuff, if I have a discussion with, somebody I potentially want to collaborate or work with, I've got pages for meetings in there. You can link stuff back and forth. So if that meeting inspires an idea for a piece of content, I'll link those pages together. It's like, I'll refer to that chat I had with so-and-so for that idea.
Okay. I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. Tables, collapsing lists of things. But yeah, Notion, I would be lost without Notion if I had because it lets me have a bunch of pages in a notebook, and it doesn't matter which order they're in, and they're infinitely long, or short, and they hold stuff. So I would be lost without Notion.
Nice.
Sure.
Same.
Yeah, it's everything.
In that the content kind of flow that you've just described, and just maybe just in general, what are you finding the most challenging at the moment with just this new lifestyle and kind of tons of content? Like, I don't know, just what are you finding difficult? Are there days where you wake up and you just like unmotivated, or have those days where down, or are you full firing every day?
I'm struggling massively. Honestly, like, no, I think if there's days where I've got, and this is just a personal thing, that if there's days where I know I've got some easy wins, I'm so excited for those days because I know I'm going to crush that day. It's a 100% success rate. The days where I need to go write a piece of evergreen content that's not tied to a race event, that there's no constraints placed on me other than myself, those are difficult days for me, honestly. And I struggle with discipline quite a bit. Honestly, I think that's my biggest struggle right now, and the uncertainty of that. But finding frameworks and structures and ideas that help me focus has been the biggest improvement I found in the last month or so. Like setting is like, right, this is this period of time. My phone's going on do not disturb, Discord's closed, phone's in the desk. I've got Notion open, and I've got a Chrome browser open, and that's it. And I'm generating content ideas and research for that and flowing through it. That's really the biggest hurdle I've got right now, is just being effective at the tasks that I find difficult. And I think probably you can relate to that one as well. Yeah. It's just like, if you are the constraint, you are also the limit to how flexible that constraint is. And sometimes I just want to play Tarkov in the afternoon, which I've stopped doing. I don't do it anymore. I did it yesterday, I lie.
Yeah. I mean, once you start, then you can't stop, and then it's 5 hours later, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the lifestyle, it's the fact that you're always on and you're working for yourself, and you are the limit. It never stops. There's always something to do. I don't have anybody to write code for me. I don't. I've got an editor, but my editor can't edit unless I generate content. And sometimes I can't generate content unless I've done that new piece of code that I need to do to make that visualization, because that's one of the things that I'm happy where I'm at, but I want to keep improving it, is making data consumable and accessible for people that are not analytically inclined. So people that don't like numbers, people that but they want facts and they want you to prove it. It's like, how do you know that Mercedes is slower here? It's like, that's actually pretty easy because I can show you this, and it's definitive. It's not just like vibes on Twitter where like, I think this guy's shit. It's like, well, no, he's not, but statistically, yes, he is worse in these conditions or whatever else. And like being able to tell those stories, it's like people just like, oh, you can do that? It's like, yeah. Like I don't really give a shit about your feelings because the data's right here. And I can explain to you how you can make sense of this for yourself. And that's super powerful. So that's empowering right now, that I can help tell stories that people want to hear and give them the answers that are not just, because journalist A said so. Some of them are very good and some of them are right, but when they're wrong, I'm like, oh God, yes, yes.
Are you getting that feedback predominantly from your stream, would you say? So like I'm actually curious to ask like your audience that are watching on your live streams now, like what is the competence of their like F1 knowledge? I interesting to hear, like, have you just got a whole range of different people and you are now discovering kind of different things that people want, and that's helping you just kind of plan, oh, I'm going to try this on the stream.
Absolutely, man. And it's crazy because the range in terms of both interest and competency, let's say, is vast. You know, there's people that started watching Formula One last year or a month ago, and they're like, hey, this is cool. We can talk about that because I think I do a thing where I can talk about stuff that people want to talk about, and I'm finding how much data people actually want. That's my thing, because I can go deep all day long in terms of numbers and analytically speaking, and you know, setting up frameworks and subjective frameworks around these ideas to back up the data. But also, like, there's people in my stream that are also engineers and also motorsport engineers, and they're also activated and interested in the content, or they tell me they are, and I don't prompt myself like, hey, I know that you're a smart fucker. Do you like this? They're like, dude, that's really cool. I like that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I do get good feedback. One of the biggest things that I struggle with is not appreciating how basic information can be beautiful. You know, the fundamentals. It's like, how does a Formula One car work? You know, how do tires work? What do you mean by aerodynamics? What is, you know, these things are like, why do they stop? Why do they have to use 2 sets of tires in a race? Like all these the questions that are so basic, but it's like, why don't you just tell a story and invite new people that don't know, and make them excited about it? And I think that's something that's like another one of those pots of content that I want to start doing, is like very basic stuff because I don't like people, like, you know what it's like with sports. People gatekeep sports because they think it makes them better. It just makes you a dick.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just makes you a dick. And that's been really cool finding people that are. It's been cool finding people that are new to the sport, that are interested, and they feel welcome in a discussion at a high level. But being able to take this stuff that's relatively detailed and explain the important bits out of it without getting bogged down in the. But yeah, that understanding that the very young audience, or the new to the sport audience, let's say, and finding stuff to appeal to them and draw them in and get them passionate about the sport, because it's not about. I know the channel is ultimately about me, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't give a shit about that part of it. I get excited talking to you about this stuff because I like it, and that's it. And I think that's what people connect with.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's
like,
yeah.
I don't care about talking about me. Like, I have some cool anecdotes, and I think my story's interesting. But the only reason I'm interested in telling people that story is because if it gets other people motivated to do something. Telling that story without a purpose is pointless to me. Like, I have no interest in it at all. But like, you know, when I've got my Instagram inbox is full right now.
Is it?
Of literally hundreds of messages from young aspiring engineers that say, how do I get a job in Formula One? And I feel like I'm like, okay, that's the kind of attention I like, because I can offer you something that helps you.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything for it. Just go watch my YouTube video.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm putting together, is like trying to wrap up all those ideas into an effective piece of content. Not a boring one, but an effective one. So that's the trick now.
Sounds like a lot of your audience want a lot of different things.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like this stream, YouTube shorts, blah, blah, blah. And it's invest in people to help you as appropriate.
It seems like, just from my perspective, one of your biggest challenges is finding a balance of different content within F1 that goes from complex on your scale to really, really basic on someone who's just a casual F1 watcher, because you want to bring those people into the sport as well. I'm sure you probably
so much
love the idea that your content is inspiring people to actually get really into F1 as well. as opposed to just appealing to the kind of the really super tech F1 guys as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, and also the way the sport's going, it's opened up that, because 10 years ago, this content would have been insanely niche and had no reach whatsoever, so.
Just looking at kind of your Instagram then, because you mentioned at the start we'd go into why you think your Instagram is doing well, and you just said that you've got hundreds of messages in your DMs. Are you able to just touch on what you think has been why is your Instagram blowing up, basically, like what because it's pretty impressive. That's growing. I didn't expect it to have grown that quick.
I never expected to see that either.
I've not seen many Instagram accounts, but Instagram is very difficult to grow an account on. I'm sure you know. Gaming seems very, very difficult, but in any niche, it's super difficult. And I'd love to hear you go into a bit more depth about that.
Well, I mean, realistically, I've used this type of content on other platforms, and it's been very effective at converting TikTok over to Twitch. And now that I've migrate my Instagram away from the gaming niche, I'm now into, posting stuff a little bit a little bit of gaming, but mostly in the Formula One niche now. That's super popular. People are consuming a lot of that content. It's not particularly saturated with high quality content. I'll say that. There's not that much high quality F1 content. There's a couple of very excellent creators that I really admire, but the video that is done, honestly, I hate saying this, it's been one piece of content that's propelled everything else. And the good thing is, it's not just like a thing that is a one-off. It's a repeatable thing that will continue. It's the story. It's literally, I open it, the hook is, I think I might have made a terrible decision. And it talks about, what I did and blah, blah, blah. And I left my job. I always wanted to, I spent so long investing in becoming a Formula One engineer. And I got there and I did 10 years in the industry at a very high level. And then I decided I wanted to do something else. And people gave me a lot of abuse and people gave me a lot of support about it. And I've never seen a reel do 1.6 million in a month.
It's 1.6 million. Yeah, I think I saw one that was at one point something when I was scrolling through.
It's the same. It's that one. So I've gone from 4,000 to 63,000 in a month.
From that, you think it's from that reel? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pulled everything else up around it, but it's like people have identified with that piece of content very well. The conversion of new users to Twitch has been insane. Like I won't pull the numbers. Oh fuck it, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, go
on. But it's good for me. I think like that popping off is good because that is me. That is what you will get when you come to my stream. If that story or that piece of content resonated with you, it will then, you come to my stream and that's what you're getting. In the last month, I've gone from 9,000 to 15,000 on Twitch. And viewership when I'm doing Formula One content is very good. It's triple, quadruple what I get when I'm gaming.
Yeah,
and it's just growing. Every stream is growing, and it's a usually pretty mature audience as well. Like it's like people. It's not like F1 Twitter is notoriously toxic, and I'm sure if you're into football Twitter is super toxic as well. But F1 Twitter is insanely toxic. But we get people that want to come and have conversations about stuff. People that come there are interested in facts and objectivity, and I throw my opinions and I shit post people all the time and drivers and all. But like people, if you can't hang out in my stream, you can't take a fucking joke, then leave. And I'm not a serious guy, man, either. So it's like I'm not. It's easy to you take a one line on Twitter and you rip into somebody about it and to pull them to pieces. But if we were having a conversation, me to you, we can disagree about something and have a beautiful conversation about it. But the one punch just doesn't give you that. You don't have any of the complexity of body language, gestures, expressions, anything else. Whereas that's one of the things that the live stream audience or audiovisual medium, let's say, and the live stream as well, because you can interact with it. It's not just me talking to you. It's us having a conversation about it. If there's something particularly difficult to talk about or controversial, let's say, we'll talk about it. So I don't know. Yeah, but like, segued super hard there. I'm doing
That's
it all
right.
night, man. But
When it
Instagram, yeah, it's been interesting growing on Instagram and finding another platform that people have found that piece of content, and it's driven them to YouTube. It's driven them over to Twitch and interacting with these people in real time. So it's just one of those things. Like that's what people want. They want to actually talk about the weekend. They want to talk about the race. They want to talk about Sebastian Vettel retiring. They want to talk about everything else. So it's been cool to be able to get that platform working. Yeah.
Are you using that intro on again, but with a different second half of content? What like? Do you want to use that? Post the same thing again on Instagram, or
my idea for that kind of thing is a friend suggested to me. You know that ginger girl?
no, I'm not sure.
Warzone content creator, a good friend of mine. She's done an awesome job. She's great. She I think it was her that mentioned it. It's basically something that people, especially in the fitness vlogging kind of space, do quite often. Is they find a couple pieces of content that always bang, and they tend to repurpose them every couple of months with a new footage, a new twist, a new variation, but roughly that same thing. It's a style. And I think that kind of thing, talking about that, that piece of content, I can tell from that point of view, which was when I decided to quit to when I quit, to what I used to do, fast forward to what's going on now, where the journey's going, what it means, bullet points of this conversation would even be interesting in that kind of context, because I feel like that's the kind of stuff that people will identify with and say, that's interesting, and I like Formula One, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're fully justified in using that same hook again, and then the telling a different part of the story in after it, because it's still
absolutely
that's just
relevant.
Introing the same story. The story is staying the same at the start every time. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think
it was very effective CTA. So yeah, I think I will continue to recycle that now and then on the socials, because TikTok, Instagram, get another drip feed, another bit of the viral crack into the internet.
Yeah, it's weird when you have one that goes viral and you post it again. It usually goes viral again. Like, I'd love to know, like, what is it in that piece of content that is like just driving that? Like, even though the algorithms I know can pick up duplicate content, and sometimes they just bang again.
I'm looking forward to trying that kind of thing, because there's so many, like you said, the hook was good, the story is compelling and interesting, and using that effectively to do other things down the line. I think it's but also I don't want every piece of content to be like that either.
No,
because that's one of those things, like that's one pot, and you can't just play that card every week.
Yeah,
that's gonna get so boring, and I don't have any interest in accelerated rapid growth off of one, because that's not what people are coming to my content for. People are coming to my content for analysis. They're coming to it for opinions and everything else, not because of, hey, I like that you did some very risky, stupid career decision.
It's more just a brand awareness piece, though, really, isn't it? Like, it's just like, this is who I am. Yeah, by the way, like, for new people. So I think you've always got to incorporate that style of content, but obviously to get the people coming back and really interested in you obviously have got the other things that you're probably more focused on. The more technical stuff. I want to move on to like a bit about networking and stuff, and some collaborations that I've seen have been popping up, and how that has come about, because I've seen you've done some co-streams, and I believe you are also doing something with esports, Formula E. And yeah, I just would like to hear kind of how those collaborations have happened. Have you been actively looking for them? Is it through Twitter? Because I think a lot of people want to do collaborations, they want to network, but some people, they just don't know how. I see it on Reddit sometimes. People are like, how do I collaborate with other people? How do I find people? So it's actually it sounds really simple, but
it does sound simple, but it's hard.
Yeah,
Imagine
it's
like
hard,
imagine
yeah.
you go to the pub and you're like, I heard you guys talking about something. I'd like to talk about that too. They're like, who
Yeah,
the fuck
yeah.
are you, man? You're like, okay, sorry. No, but I think it's kind of like that. Like, I find people that I'm interested in, and I like their content because I want to collaborate with other creators. You know, I wanted to have this conversation with you because I know quite a bit about you. And I know like this conversation is perfect because I know that we both like to talk about these kinds of things. And that's easy. It's like, I know you, you know me, I know what you do, you know what I do, and we can have a conversation. I think that's basically it. It's just getting to know people. But like cold calling people, like dropping people a DM. Twitter is an excellent place I find for networking because it gives you an opportunity to very candidly interact with people that have no obligation to interact with you. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's completely normal to reply to a tweet and get nothing back from it. Maybe a like, maybe nothing. Doesn't matter. You know, so that's a very interesting thing. I find people that I like and I interact with their content. You know, I don't have any, you know, I'm like, if I see somebody that I like, I'd be like, I'd like to maybe collaborate with them someday. If I know that, you know, if I know their content and their brand well, I'll just spend a bit of time interacting with them. But it's one of those things that I most of the time, I very rarely reach out to, and this is probably a fault and I should probably do it more, but I very rarely reach up, if that makes sense. You know, I don't reach very far up ever. You know, unless I'm comfortable and I know that person, but it's just like, I usually reach out to other people in my space. I've collaborate with the co-streams with quite a few people. You know, I've been invited to a couple podcasts. I've had my buddies from the Red Flags on my co-stream on Sunday for the French Grand Prix. That was a laugh. You know, it was just finding people that you like, and maybe they'll like you. And if they don't know you, I interact with their content. Try to have discussions with them. Don't neg people. You know, like don't be that person. But that's just my approach. You know, if I want to work with somebody, I'll send them a DM on Twitter. And the answer is either yes, or the worst they can tell you is no.
No, yeah.
And I think that bothers a lot of people, and it bothers me. I don't like getting turned down, but I don't get upset either, you know.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think that the most natural way that I've found networking works is to genuinely interact with people's content. Genuinely, like, do not just be like, you know, just go say, you know, leave hi on their posts. That's silly. You're not interested in that. But if there's people that you're interested in having a discussion or interacting with their content, interact with them. Genuinely, don't fake it. And my thing is, I can't fake it. Like, if I just can't fake interact with people. It's just not possible for me, which is good because that means most of my interactions with other people are very natural. Maybe awkward, but at least natural. You know, that's not.
That makes sense.
But yeah, no, I think that's probably I don't think I have any really good tips for networking.
No, that was the good tip. That was the good.
There's
tip.
I don't think there's a magic bullet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But I think that the important thing is to be genuine and be yourself, because yeah. And if you're also making content, you know, maybe they'll notice you, and don't worry if they don't fucking notice you, because forcing that is difficult as well. You know, and I like when people that have followed me have unfollowed me on Twitter. I used to get annoyed about it. I'm like, wait a minute, like, that's your right as a person to consume, and if you don't like me or what I'm producing, you're not obliged to do anything. Like, even if there's people I think are my friends unfollow me, which doesn't happen. You know, I haven't had that, but it should be like, if you don't want to see my content or this niche, that's fine. You, like, all my people, my friends in real life don't have to follow Brrrake on Instagram. I've got a personal Instagram. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. So, networking, be genuine.
Be genuine. What about when it comes to brands and partnerships there? I feel like your socials in terms of numbers are coming to the point where you, I think, could, like, I'm sure you'll start to come on to the radar of some brands with YouTube, and it's actually Instagram as well with that size account. And just wondering if you're doing anything active there, if there are any kind of like who'd be a dream brand to work with, And also, before I forget, you said to mention beer earlier,
Yeah.
craft beer. So before I forget, it's literally just popped into my head.
Yeah. Let's do both of those.
Yeah.
As far as it, I mean, I've got a couple different things right now, and that is honestly, we are now in the arc of the journey. We're now getting into uncharted territory for me.
Yeah.
It's like I can make content, I can stream, I can figure out how to make YouTubes. They're not great, they're getting better. But how do I value myself?
Yeah, it's a business now.
It's a business now, right? And people will approach you, and they want something from you. That's it. They like, if somebody comes to you with a brand deal, it's because they're going to get something out of it. I heard that, I can't remember what the YouTube series I heard, but it hit me so hard when I heard this line, and I will try to find that and send it to you because I think you'll really enjoy it. Is you are only worth what you say yes to. If somebody comes to you and says, Ben, I want to offer you £200 to do a TikTok. You've just told them and you say yes, that's what you're worth. That's it. So it's like that's one of the things that hit me. This is new territory for me. Like, what do I say yes to? Do I need management?
What's your worth?
Yeah. What am I worth?
Yeah.
But and I think one of the questions I've got right now. Sorry, I just cleaned the top of my monitor because that dust was driving me insane. One of the things that I'm at right now is like, what am I worth? I don't know. And the thing is, looking at that, what am I worth next year? Because, a lot of these things that you commit to, they're not for a week. They're 6-month deals. They're 12-month deals. Do you say yes to something now, which sounds interesting? Or do you wait 12 more months and burn a little bit more cash because you don't have this partnership or this deal? Because in 12 more months, they will pay you if you keep the train on the tracks. You are worth double to them in 12 months. But if you say yes to them now for half, that's what you're worth. But we only ever paid you X for that. So it's like, well, yeah, but so that's where I'm at right now. I don't know the answer to that. How do I approach it? Who do I want to work with? I would really like to work with my old company from a content point of view. I'm one of the only ex-engineers that's worked at the track at a very high level with experience with, some of the best drivers in the world that is now making content. I'm not the best content creator, but I'm learning every single day, and I can make effective content that people want to consume, and I'm proving that. So that's one of the people I want to work with, honestly, because they're a spectacular brand as well, and it'd be cool.
Their content is incredible across the extreme sports space. I love it. They've done so much in just their marketing and advertising for the just different.
It's phenomenal, man.
It's so good.
I'm just like, give me access to part of that machine, and give me some freedom, and give me a bit of resource, and let me try. I think I've proven that I can at least adapt and figure it out, but let me have a go. So that's one thing that's on my mind, and I'd like to try and fix something out. In terms of other deals, I don't know what to do, man. Like, here's the thing I've noticed is that line keeps coming back to me. You're only worth what you say yes to. People have come at me with some fucking stupid offers. Like, they sound really good, and they try to sell them to you, and then you figure out what their ask is. And it's like, I cannot believe you've just told me I'm not worth shit. And it's like one of those things, but it's like, oh yeah, but it's exposure. I'm like, I can't eat exposure, man. Like that very nice £5 for a pint of Verdant double dry hop IPA is not going to pay for itself with exposure, man. I need that. I need to get back on that craft beer. No, I don't. That's a tough one, man. It's a very interesting point, and I don't know how to approach it. I've got a couple. I've been saying no to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people understand me. I don't think people understand what I want to do. I don't think people understand where I want to go with this. And if I say yes now, that's what I'm worth. I'd rather say no. I feel like at this point right now, doors are opening instead of closing. So if I close a few doors politely and respectfully, they could open again in 12 months, and my valuation is much different to them because they will have seen and understood where I want to be if I'm there. Might not be there, but yeah, I think that's very interesting for me, and I don't know how to deal with it right now. So I'm just super cautious. I'm not saying yes to anything.
Yeah. That makes sense. I see where you're coming from. It might be worth looking at maybe like a talent agency of some sort. Someone that deals with creators. But my sister actually joined a talent agency 3 months ago, and she was completely undercharging. She was doing it herself, and then they came in and said, nah. They basically quadrupled what she was charging, because she just had no idea. Like similar to you, like she had no idea what her worth was, and I think brands were coming in taking the piss a little bit, like because
dude, there's some scumbags out there.
Yeah, and I think especially for the gaming space as well. Like I know you're not in that space at the moment, but I think they take advantage of lots of streamers jumping at any opportunity to work with a brand, and therefore they can know they can charge just rock bottom.
Here's something I thought of the other day, and I put this on Twitter because I was thinking about this conversation that we're having right now. If somebody wants to help you and they get more out of helping you than you get out of them helping you, they don't want to help you. They're helping themselves. Yeah. And at the end of the day, yes, it is a business, and if you see an opportunity, yes, you should try. But at the same time, don't say yes to everything. Know your worth, and if you don't know what it is, figure it out. I think management is important, but the only question mark I have over management is management are also other people that, yes, they will advocate for you, but they get something out of it, and how much do they get out of it? And I don't know what that looks like. So, but that's definitely yes, because they will bring you opportunities. Yes, they will advocate for you, and they're then invested to get deals for you that are good, because those deals also bring them money.
Yeah, you got to believe that and trust that they're doing the right thing for you just as much as the right thing for them, not just doing it for them and a little bit for you. I guess that's
exactly. So that's definitely the question mark, and its first answer is for me is always no.
Oh, nice.
For now.
So craft beer,
right. I like this. I really like brewing beer. I make my own ale. I've done some sour. I haven't done any sours yet. I almost got into sours, then COVID hit, and I stopped brewing because I basically had taken over the refrigerator in our flat, and we were using my small mini fridge for our groceries. It was a disaster.
Bet your partner loved that.
Yeah, she was like, well, she enjoyed the beer until it's like, right, there's been a 20-liter keg in the fridge for the last month. Can we finish this now? I'm like, hell yeah. So I like brewing beer. I enjoy it. It's like baking or cooking or anything like that, and it's you have to spend a long time waiting for it to be ready. It's brewing a brew day takes about 8 hours. Fermentation and packaging is 2 to 3 weeks, and conditioning for another couple days to a couple weeks, depending on how you're doing it, right? And that's a cool process, and it makes sense. If you're going to make something, make a lot of it. So I make a lot of it. I make a keg 20 liters at a time, which is a lot of beer. I don't want to drink 20 liters of the same thing. I don't want to consume 20 liters of the same thing. But I'm so excited about making that 20 liters of beer that I want to take it and share it with all of my friends and other people that I don't even know that like beer. You getting a bottle of my beer. And it was good stuff. It was actually getting really, really reasonable for beer, full stop, not even for a homebrew. It's the same thing with talking about streaming, gaming, Formula 1. I want to do a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. I'm not doing it just because I want to hold on to this. I don't want to. Strangle this thing. I just want to share that with people. That's why I stream. I go live playing Escape from Tarkov, not because I'm good at Escape from Tarkov, but because I love playing the game, and I love having conversations with people that are focused around that thing that we all love. The same is true of Formula 1, and the same of brewing beer or even baking bread. I bake 2 loaves of sourdough. I don't eat 2 loaves. I give, I divide that second loaf and give those 2 halves to other people and get feedback. What do you think? Was it good? Too dry? Was it sour enough? Same thing with the beer. What did you think? Did you like those hops? Did you like how alcohol, like the alcohol, was it too alcoholic? Was it not? And there's all these complexity of things that you could have these conversations about these things. The same is true of content, streaming, everything else. So I like sharing stuff that I'm passionate about with other people. And that's the only motivation I've got. And I think that's what, like, I know that it's a pure thing to do, if that makes sense. It's not, it's like, everything I do, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? And all this stuff just makes sense to me for that reason. So I need to get my garage fixed so I can brew some more beer.
That's going to be another side project, is it?
No, I have no interest in brewing beer professionally, because that is another one of those things that is all consuming. If you want to break into the craft beer industry, I just want to share it with my mates.
Yeah. So before we kind of wrap up, I kind of want to, from your background and your previous job, I know that you're someone that is heavily involved with numbers. You love numbers, you love stats, and I'm sure you also probably have lots of goals and objectives when you at Red Bull. And I'm just curious, like, what are your new goals now that you're kind of, I would say you're probably a bit more settled in your content than you were probably 3 or 4, 6, well, probably from you ever been, I would say. Like, and now you kind of have got a bit better grasp of the direction that you want to go in. Have you got any short, medium, long-term goals? I'm talking 6 months, year, 5 years, 10 years, or any kind of shoot for the moon goals. I'd love to hear kind of what your thoughts are around that, or you just kind of just going with it.
I'm just riding it right now. I think I got a couple of interesting medium-term goals. But we got partnered on Twitch and YouTube last month, which were like those kind of creator milestones that just say, like, it's just a foot in the door, and it doesn't really, like, YouTube's good because it offers you the ability to generate revenue off of YouTube, which is good because that's part of the plan. By the end of the year, I would like to grow the YouTube. I don't think it's reasonable this year looking at the rates, but if I could lock it in over the next couple of months and refine that and increase the growth of my YouTube and hit 100,000 by the end of the year, I would be over the moon.
Yeah, nice.
I think
get a nice plaque as well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't give a shit about the plaque, but I'm sure it feels good. Take it to the pub, like, all right, lads. I think focusing on YouTube growth, and I don't have a hard number set in mind. Like that 100,000 mark is like another one of those big milestones, and that means that is doing well. So that is one of my main focuses for YouTube, is to refine my content so that they keep, like, the videos keep doing better and better every time I post them, and I'm refining them. But I'm still tweaking and I'm still learning. I don't know much about YouTube. I know a little bit, and I know there's other people that know a lot, and I need to figure out what they're doing and find my version of that. I don't copy people, but I need to find my version of what other people are doing that they've grown with. And that's, every time somebody posts a piece of content, their recipe is there. You just have to know what you're looking for. So that will help me understand the audience that I'm trying to supply information to. Growing YouTube and letting YouTube help make this sustainable financially for me is a goal. And that's a 6-month goal. Like by the end of the year, it's less than 6 months away. Holy crap. Shit. All right. Anyway, maybe February. No. Yeah, but by the end of the year, I'd like to see a sizable increase again. I'd like to find a couple of reasonable brand deals, with people that I want to work with, that help support me in this. I would also really, really like to. I watch mainstream Formula One content, the TV production, everything else. Yeah, there's a huge gap in what they're doing. I get a comment on several comments on every video I make. They're like, Sky Sports could use somebody like you. I'm like, okay, tell them. So I don't know. Like, I don't have any interest in being on television like that. Like I don't care about that. But it's just like being able to reach even more people and share my excitement and passion for using numbers instead of vibes to describe what's going on. Because at the end of the day, Formula One is a very analytical and data-driven sport. There's lots of numbers, and the numbers are frightening as fuck and misleading if you don't know what you're looking at. And the pundits do a very good job, but I think there's a whole nother level of stuff that people on the mainstream media would love. They just don't know that it exists because nobody's ever told them about it before. And I feel like that's what we're doing. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I think that is completely reasonable by next year sometime. But that's up to me.
Do you think that will impact your stream? What do you see in terms of your like stream and stream schedule? Are you not sure there? Like, are you happy with kind of the balance that you've got at the moment with content and streaming?
Not really.
Not really.
It's a lot. It is a lot. But
Yeah.
I would say this, like I quit trackside performance engineering at Red Bull because I was tired of working weekends. I was working a lot. We'd leave Wednesday, we'd get back Monday morning. I would be in the office. I was doing, 21-day stints in a row often. I'm doing that again now. So, but now I'm investing in me. I'm not investing in someone else. I'm investing in me, which I'm happy with. And it will pay off. I'd like to find a little bit more sustainability in this, but if as with anything new, you have to invest if you want to grow, and if you don't invest, it's just going to take longer. But I'm finding a better balance now. The stream I think has so much potential to grow. That's another one. I feel like there's a lot of scope for much better, much higher viewership on the stream, and just finding the audience. And that's the thing that Twitch relies on the creators to use other platforms to do, is to drive traffic to it, the discoverability. And I'm doing that, and I'm happy with it. I have no problem with the fact that I have to use other platforms, because if you use those other platforms well, they just help make this sustainable. So I'm into it. So I want to add a lot of production value to my stream in terms of the amount of information and data that I can bring live, which is my current holdup, which is literally just a programming and logistics problem, which I'm in the process of solving. And I think once that happens, I guarantee you the people that are really into Formula One, that like the data side and they want to see numbers, they're going to stop watching the Sky Sports broadcast and they're going to come watch this.
Why not? Why not?
And I think that's a little bit cocky, but at the same time, for a fact, I know that when I watch that, I'm missing that, right? It's like, well, I need to have the timing screen up, and there's not enough information for me to infer, what's actually happening. And maybe, the commentators are excellent. They're very good. I'm not trying to be those people, but like the person generating the very data-driven stuff and talking about the strategy and extrapolating and looking at what's possible, they're just winging it because they're looking at a timing screen. And I can do that stuff offline. I've got a bit of logistics to do to get that running live. And as soon as that happens, they'll have my email address.
Well, it's interesting. The sky's the limit with viewership on Twitch, because there's just there's no one really doing it, and the category isn't saturated, so it's really difficult to know what the potential is. Like like with Warzone, you can kind of you gauge what people's viewership is. You know what the cap is. You know what the big streamers do, the medium, small. With the category you're in, I guess you don't really know, do you? You don't really know.
Sports, Twitch is investing heavily in sports, for sure. And it's cool to be a part of that. So that's been also really awesome working with the Twitch sports guys. But yeah, I think the sky is the limit in terms of that, in terms of side casting potential, and branching out from that into stuff like conversations like this with other motorsport professionals talking. I don't want to talk about IP and top secret shit. I want to talk about their stories, because if people like my story, I know 20 people that they're going to absolutely love their story, and I'd love to have that conversation with them and tell that story. And that's just another pot of content that is both a live stream, it is a VOD, it's everything else.
Your cat, I was about to say.
Yeah, but yeah,
that makes sense. So one last question.
No,
It's going to be an advice question, because I've been asking this to everyone. I want to get your advice to anyone watching. You've been streaming for 6 months, 12 months. You've hit that wall. Like, you've come to a point similar to where you came to, where you didn't know what to do. What advice would you give to someone at that stage that still doesn't know what direction they're heading in, and is, yeah, like I said, hit the wall, is struggling for motivation, and is struggling to continue to want to stream and create content anymore. Because I think most streamers have that day or week or month.
All of them have had it, for sure.
Some come out on the other side, but most don't. I think, and just wanted to hear like, what were your thoughts around that just before we wrap up?
I think you've got to. I would say the first part is being honest with yourself and understanding what you want to do. I think is the bottom line of that story. If you say you want to stream, why? And if you can't answer that question, maybe you don't have to stop, but you need to answer that question ultimately, I think. Because I had to ask myself that question. It was like, why do I want to stream? And until I understood that and could explain that to myself, I was struggling as well. And then say, right, when you found the why you want to stream, then the difficult part, I think, is the part that most people think they're hung up on is, what do I want to stream? Which is also a difficult question, because there's some stuff that you might want to stream that the audience is saturated. There is no audience. You're the only weirdo that likes that thing. But come on, we've seen some of the stuff on the internet. There's somebody out there for everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I think that's it. Like, why do you want to stream? Answer that question. And if you can't answer it, that's okay, but figure it out. Otherwise, you're gonna hit the wall again. You're not gonna understand it. And to find out what you want to do. And for me, one of the biggest things that is, you can stream for fun. You can stream, but like if you want to stream as a job, and you don't, like, what is your brand? Like, if you don't have a direction that you're trying to go, and finding that, and mine was natural, because my niche is now heavily focused around something which I have a lot of professional experience in. And it's super easy for me to talk about. You know, I can't talk about that many things particularly competently. I'll tell you when I don't know something, and I'm so happy not knowing stuff. But I will tell you very confidently the stuff that I do know, and hopefully make it an interesting conversation that people want to come back and listen to, which I think is why that. So I found it seems like a very strong niche is what I found, and that's made streaming enjoyable again as well, because I can connect and talk to people about something I'm passionate about. I can share that beer with people, you know? And I couldn't do that before. Warzone was just something I did as a hobby for fun, and just wasn't that passionate about the game. But then now I've got something where it's like a connection that I have between me and the people that come by, and we share that now. And that motivates me to go back. Like, I wasn't planning on doing anything last night. I popped up a Tarkov stream, and just a handful of people showed up because it was way off schedule, and I had one of the most enjoyable times doing it. So you got to ask yourself, what do you want out of it as well? Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make a job? Are you trying to make friends? What are you doing? So why do you want to stream? What you want to stream, and then see how that fits in with other people, and you have to enjoy it. I won't stream if I'm not having fun. I'll turn the stream off if I'm not having a good time. But I haven't done that since I stopped playing Warzone.
Made the right decision then.
Objectively, statistically, possibly in a very flawed manner, I have concluded that Warzone was the source of my troubles. It wasn't that. It's just I wasn't that passionate about that game, and I didn't enjoy it. I have a lot of love for the community and the people that I've met in that space. A lot of them have come over to Tarkov anyway, but for the ones that haven't, I still have those connections to those people. Hitting the wall after 6 months, or whatever period, those questions are super important. If you have the answer to those questions, you will find a way. And if you can't answer those questions, stop what you're doing and figure out how you want to answer those questions, and don't hesitate to stop, because I took a break for a while. I stopped posting content. I stopped streaming for a bit, and I came back with those questions answered and took it a day at a time. All right, and I'm if my numbers were lower right now, I'd still be enjoying it. Doesn't like that. Objectively, that part's not where I'm at. And if the journey was going to take me 3-4 times longer than it's taking me now, that's okay. But if you're not happy with that, then you gotta figure out what you want. Because a lot of people just struggle with, they're not able to be honest with themselves about it, I think. And that's fine, because I that's everything in life, isn't it? If you can't be honest with yourself about it, or you don't know the answer, it's difficult to do those things until you find out what that answer might be, and then reevaluate it in a month or 6 months or whatever. Doesn't matter. But it's like that thing. It's like, how do you motivate yourself to do something? Oh, rigid deadlines. If you don't do this, you're going to not eat, or there's another race next week, so you need to do this content. Those are useful things. So find the purpose, and then find a framework that works for you. I think that's it.
That's a good answer. That was a very good answer. Find your purpose.
I think that's the answer, though. And but the most important part of that is don't hesitate to reevaluate that on a somewhat regular basis. Not to the point where it's a mental yo-yo which will destroy you, but to be like, I thought it was this last month or 2 months ago, but this is looking nice. Fuck it. Throw shit at a wall and see what sticks.
A lot of people hide from doing that, though, I think, because they're scared of the truth. If things aren't going well, they almost don't want to reevaluate, because they know they've got to then make a change or take themselves out of their comfort zone, because what they've been doing is comfortable, but it's not necessarily the right thing for long-term progression and success.
I see that specifically. I see that with a lot of the Warzone people that are just grinding that game even though they hate it, because it's going to make sense, they know it's like Warzone 2 is around the corner. Next Call of Duty title. Stay strong in that niche, and when everybody else has dropped off, new game comes out. Who's been there? You. Send it. But also don't hesitate to take a break and do other shit. And if you struggle for viewership or what other numbers objectively you're doing less off, that's more important than achieving X subs, achieving so many concurrent viewers, getting partnered. Those things don't really do that much for you. But if your head's in the right spot and you can do it, you'll be there, and you won't be burned out in a month. But it's a real thing, and like it's tough. It's super tough, man. I see it. I've been really close to that point, but that framework of the purpose and what and who, it just kind of clicked. I don't think I was lucky, but I was fortunate that I had that stuff. But you can make those things for yourself. Everybody can.
Yeah, I agree. Should we wrap it up? Wow, you told me.
Yeah.
You told me I wouldn't have 2 hours. I got an hour and 42 out of you.
You know what? But like when you're having a good conversation with somebody, it's really hard to stop, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I don't mind if I don't have anything to do tonight anyway. So cat been fed. They've just been inspecting. It's like, all right, what's Ben up to? All right, cool. Or I'm gonna go shit on the carpet down here.
Yeah, I think we've gone through most of my questions. To be honest, we flowed pretty nicely.
It was a little bit of a organic flip flop ADHD rage induced Warzone hating son of a gun.
we went everywhere.
I hope. Yeah, that was a super fun conversation.
It was a pleasure to have you on. I was really, really, really excited. I've
been looking forward to this all week, man. Honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Genuinely.
Before we go, just if you could tell people what days you stream and your socials and stuff, which I'll drop down below in the description. How can people find you?
Yeah, so Twitter and Instagram is Brrrake. And then I've got YouTube and TikTok accounts for that as well. That's all my gaming stuff. But Twitter and Instagram, Brrrake. And then TikTok and YouTube, Brrrake F1. I stream usually Tuesdays, Thursdays are my chill days gaming. Race weekends, I'll stream Formula 1 watch-alongs. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, most weeks. It's something different on the internet around Formula 1. There's not very many people doing what I'm doing on the internet, and I'm just super fucking excited to share this stuff with other people, because when you're inside the industry and the machine, you cannot talk about what you do. And it's like, if I was doing that at work and coming online, streaming, talking about performance analysis, there's way too much sensitive stuff that I would probably end up talking about, and they wouldn't have been happy with that. But now that I've successfully escaped from F1. It's like escaping from Tarkov, but much more satisfying. But yeah, that's where you can find me, and that's where I post all my shenanigans. But yeah, dude,
sweet.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for the conversation, man.
It's been my
really
pleasure.
enjoyed it.
Been my pleasure. I'm really excited and looking forward to just keeping tabs on your growth and seeing the new ideas and content that you produce. Everyone watching the episode, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to gain some value from it. There's some really in-depth topics there. And yeah, I'm sure we'll talk again soon. I'd love to do this again in 6 months' time. If I'm being consistent, and that's my goal. That's my goal, right?
Right.
Continue doing the podcast
for 6 months, brother.
Continue doing the podcast, so then 6 months' time I get to interview like again when everything is just going fucking AWOL for him. And that's my goal. So yeah. Right, I'll wrap it up there. Right. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week, bro.
I'll talk to you soon.
Pleasure. Bye bye.